of policing our city.
The attacker managed to get out of the station and drive away despite being shot at by another officer, but then was captured after a brief chase. Protesters are speaking out about the recent hit-and-run incidents that happened as Justice for Breonna Taylor demonstrations. On yesterday, a car drove through a crowd of protesters on Highland Boulevard. There was a similar incident Thursday when a truck plowed through a crowd, hitting a woman and fracturing her skull. Citizen journalist Vishal Singh says his foot was run over while trying to help the woman. He rejects claims that the driver feared for his life.
That wasn't someone trying to escape. That was someone who specifically avoided side streets where they could have gone around us and drove directly in to harm people.
Police are investigating the incidents as hit and runs. Several arrests were also made during the protests. Authorities say some of the charges include reckless driving, battery on an officer, and unlawful assembly. 2 people hurt, one seriously, when a woman who was part of a protest in Yorba Linda plowed her car into a crowd after a confrontation with counter-demonstrators who were showing their support for President Trump. Police say the driver was part of a caravan protesting police violence against African Americans that was met along Imperial Highway yesterday by the pro-Trump group. At one point, she accelerated her car and drove right into the people standing nearby.
One male adult suffered 2 broken legs. One female adult suffered moderate injuries.
It's a police officer there. The driver was then quickly arrested and now is facing charges that include attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Both victims were with the pro-Trump group. This just coming into the newsroom out of Washington. A federal judge temporarily suspends President Trump's order that would have banned the popular app TikTok from app stores today. We'll bring you more on that when we have it. It's 5:35. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5s. Let's check your Sunday afternoon freeways with Jeff Biggs.
Well, we've had some slowing in Norwalk on the northbound 5 at Norwalk Boulevard. There was a solo car spin out in the center divider. That car has been taken off of the freeway, but you're still seeing a little bit of slowing again on that northbound 5 in Commerce. That should be opening up shortly. Same story downtown, 110 northbound before the 4-level. 2-car crash there. The CHP has been holding the middle lane, but it looks like those vehicles have been taken off of the freeway and out of your way as well. And I'm already starting to see those brake lights diminish on the 110 Harbor Freeway that was backed up all the way to the 10. New problem in Valencia, northbound 5 at McBean Parkway. There's a solo car spin out in the center divider, and it looks like they finally cleared that problem in Tustin on the 55 northbound before Sycamore. 2-car crash blocking the right 2 lanes there. However, in Corona now on the 91 westbound right near the 71, apparently a few separate cars have crashed into a couch that somehow ended up on the freeway. Your next report coming up at 5:45. I'm Jeff Biggs with more traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio.
A late September heat wave is in store for Southern California this week. Let's get more from the Weather Channel's Jeff Eno.
Already seeing wind advisories for Monday for the LA County Mountains, excluding the Santa Monica Range. For now, fire weather watches are also in place. I have a strong feeling we will see red flag warnings kick in for Monday. Fire danger all week, and we're looking at the weak to locally moderate Santa Ana winds that may gust over 40 miles per hour in some spots on Monday. And, of course, we've got the hot temperatures, downtown spots, mid-90s by Monday, and then hotter from there and hot in the valleys. Jeff Eno, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Torrance right now, 72 degrees. At LAX, nearby, 71 degrees. Chino, 86. It's 5:37.
At Stater Brothers Markets, we believe when it comes to feeding your family, you shouldn't have to pay more for great quality. That's why we say, if you can't taste the difference, why pay the difference?
We have over 20 unique family brands, names like Cleo and Leo, Full Circle Market, and of course, our Stater Brothers brand, all offering the best in quality at an affordable price. Grab a few the next time you're in. You won't be disappointed, we promise.
Stater Brothers Market's family of brands. If you can't taste the difference, why pay the difference?
Finally, the brightening power of vitamin C meets the correcting power of retinol in one supercharged serum. New Super C Serum from Strivectin, the only formula that combines vitamin C, retinol, and patented NIA 114. Clinically proven to restore radiance, smooth fine lines and texture, and visibly firm skin. 97% showed improvement in skin brightness, and 100% showed measured improvement in skin firmness. Try new Super C Serum today risk-free. Visit Strivectin.com for free shipping and returns. That's Strivectin.com.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. So much, I'm going to have to speed things up.
You can get the Farmers Signal app, and that could get you up to 15% off your auto policy. That's just for using the app and driving like the normal speed limit adhering, full stop making, lane change signaling human being you are. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Now for the legal something.
Not available in every state and discount varies. Only available with select Farmers branded policies. Subject to terms and conditions. Underwritten by Farmers Joint Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Did you know that 40% of the food in this country goes to waste? You know how every zucchini is the same shape and size at the store? And how restaurants serve pieces of fish that are perfectly shaped? So what happens to the oddly shaped items? Imperfect Foods steps in and delivers those fresh and delicious imperfect items directly to you for 30% less than you pay at the grocery store. Each week you can shop online and choose from 60 produce items and over 200 grocery items. Save money and time and help the planet. Shop at imperfectfoods.com. Use the code RADIO20 and save 20% off your first order.
Is your favorite bar closed? The DrinkWorks Home Bar by Keurig is the answer. The DrinkWorks Home Bar makes over 30 cocktails at the push of a button, including your all-time favorites, Moscow Mules, Mojitos, and Old Fashions in an all-new 12-pack. Just insert the cocktail pod and press start. Now, for a limited time at DrinkWorks.com, buy a home bar plus $60 worth of DrinkWorks products and receive $75 back. Only available at DrinkWorks.com. Cheers! Keurig is a registered trademark of Keurig Green Mountain Inc. Used under license. DrinkWorks. Please enjoy responsibly.
The wait is over. Football is back in action. That means you can watch your favorite players like Baker Mayfield and Saquon Barkley on Hulu Plus Live TV. Start your free trial today to watch football all season. Get access to over 65 channels and the largest streaming TV library, including exclusive originals and the hottest shows and movies. Live TV plan required. Restrictions apply. Learn more at hulu.com.
P3Gear.com is a family-owned business that has prided itself on producing the highest quality protective gear in response to the COVID-19 crisis. With the most comfortable, protective, and reusable masks, P3 Gear has thousands in stock today in multiple colors and designs and are machine washable. Go to P3Gear.com today and take advantage of our buy two, get one free offer. P3 Gear also supplies today's essential businesses with custom branded masks. Buy two, get one free today at P3Gear.com. That's P3Gear.com.
541 now. President Trump says before deciding to nominate federal appeals court Judge Amy Coney Barrett to replace the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, he didn't directly ask her how she'd probably vote in cases involving major hot-button issues like abortion and the fate of Obamacare. But in his first interview since announcing his choice, he tells a Fox network he's confident her decisions will reflect her conservative judicial history.
I didn't discuss certain concepts and certain things that some people say you shouldn't. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't, but I decided not to do it. And I think it gives her freedom to do what she has to do. She has to make rulings.
The president also told Fox and Friends that he expects Barrett's confirmation process to go pretty smoothly because of her strong qualifications to serve on the high court. But Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is calling again on at least some Republican senators to join in blocking Barrett's nomination on grounds that the next Supreme Court justice should be chosen by whoever wins the November election.
The Senate has to stand strong for our democracy. They must not act on this nomination until the American people finish the process they're already begun of selecting their president and their Congress.
The Senate Judiciary Committee is planning to start Barrett's confirmation hearing on October 12th, with an eye toward her possible confirmation by the full Senate before Election Day. The latest CBS News Battleground Tracker poll shows Georgia is a toss-up, with President Trump leading Joe Biden by just 1 percentage point, 47-46. North Carolina is almost as close, with Biden having a 2-point lead over the president, 48-46. CBS News Election and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto says the Supreme Court is important to voters in both of those battleground states.
A majority of voters in both these states feel like it's made the election even more important, especially Democrats feeling that way. But now both parties tell us that they are motivated to vote.
The president maintains leads with non-college white voters and men in states where his support remains steady. Biden's support also remains steady, bolstered by performing well with women and black voters and by improving on Democrats' 2016 performance among white women with college degrees. They are still working on a solo car crash in Norwalk. It's on the northbound 5, and we'll get details from Jeff coming up in about 2 minutes.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids.
Donate your car today with 1-877-CARS for Kids. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights. Also on the web at carsforkids.com.
1-877-CARS for Kids. Donate your car today.
Remember, that's CARS with a K.
Owning Corporation, Equal Housing Lender, licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS 1797976. Call 833-852-6464 for terms and conditions.
Hey, Gary, anything new with you?
Bud, can you believe it? I just crushed my mortgage payment again with Owning. But this is the last refi for me.
Why?
Because I got a 15-year fixed rate at 1.99%, 2.172 APR. Can you believe that?
Get your last mortgage refi from Owning and own your home free and clear in 180 months. Just call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com and ask for your last refi at today's 15-year fixed 1.99%, 2.172 APR. That's 15-year fixed at 1.99%, 2.172 APR.
Why not get your last refi from Owning? You just got to call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com. That's 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com.
This is Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station, KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
It's 5:45 on KNX. Good afternoon. I'm Jan Stevens. Coming up.
Searchers have found a debris field off the coast of Santa Barbara in the same area where a plane is believed to have crashed this morning. I'm Emily Valdez.
Surging lumber costs are sending new home prices through the roof. That story is coming up in 5 minutes when Bloomberg checks your money.
At the top of the hour, we'll have today's edition of Meet the Press. First, we have traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5, sponsored by Amtrak. Here's Jeff Biggs.
Well, we are going to start on the 5. We have a brand new problem in San Fernando on the southbound 5 at San Fernando Mission. This is a 3-car crash that they are trying to get over to the right shoulder. We told you about the problem on the northbound 5 at McBean Parkway in Valencia. That's a solo car spin out, but that's in the center divider and not really causing any delays at this point. We told you in Norwalk as well, northbound 5 at Norwalk Boulevard, this solo car spin out that was in the center divider. The car has been taken off the freeway, but I'm still seeing a lot of backup on that northbound 5, just residual slowing that's all the way to Bloomfield. Once you get past the incident there at Norwalk Boulevard, it's wide open on that northbound 5. A couple of things working in Pomona, 10 westbound before Dudley, a 2-car crash blocking the middle lane. And then on the westbound 10 at the 57, there's a rolled up carpet in the middle of the freeway. Again, that's on the westbound 10 at the 57. At Amtrak, our passengers are our number one priority. Amtrak's limited bookings on reserved trains ensures space for distancing, strict mask policy required, and enhanced cleaning protocols help to keep you safe. When you're ready to travel, Amtrak is ready for you. Book now at Amtrak.com. Your next report coming up at 5:55. I'm Jeff Biggs with more traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Heat and Santa Ana winds return to Southern California. Already today, we are feeling the warm up, but we'll especially feel it as we head into tomorrow with triple-digit heat across some of our area. For the beaches, expect upper 70s, near 90 degrees for LA, Inland Orange County. The valleys at 100 degrees, as well as the Inland Empire, mid-90s for the high desert, and the mountains topping out in the mid-70s. With Southern California's most accurate and dependable forecast, I'm CBS 2's Olga Spina for KNX 1070 News Radio.
Jess, we're checking in right now at 87 degrees. In Fullerton, 77 degrees. Pasadena, 82. It is 5:47. Today, a massive search underway for a plane that reportedly crashed into the ocean off the coast of Santa Barbara.
The plane was a single-engine Cessna that took off from the Santa Barbara airport about 7 this morning, then disappeared off the radar. The Coast Guard and several other local agencies are scouring the area by air and sea. Coast Guard Petty Officer Rich Brom.
We all went out there to look for this airplane. At about 9 a.m. this morning, we found a debris field in the reported vicinity there where the aircraft went down, and that's the last that we know so far.
Station KEYT reports the pilot was a woman and the plane was headed to the Lake Tahoe area. They say the debris field is about 200 feet below the water surface. Emily Valdez, KNX 1070 News Radio.
More people than ever have health insurance through Covered California now. Enrollment in June was over 1.5 million. Covered California Executive Director Peter Lee says the economic recession because of the pandemic is a big reason for the increase because so many people lost their jobs and suddenly need health insurance.
We mailed flyers with every single unemployment check in California. What happened? We saw in the months after announcing the COVID special enrollment period until it ended on August 31st, almost 300,000 Californians sign up for coverage. That's about twice what we've generally seen in the prior year, 2 times.
Lee says the numbers don't surprise him because a safety net is of utmost importance during a health crisis and a recession. There's an even greater push this year than in years past for Californians to get the flu shot because of the pandemic.
Officials are concerned that hospital capacity could be stretched to its limits if more people seek medical care for the flu while simultaneously dealing with COVID-19 patients. California Health and Human Services Secretary Dr. Mark Galley.
Just like wearing the mask, just like remaining physically distanced, just like reducing our own mixing in with groups that we aren't familiar with or don't spend a lot of time with, getting the flu shot can be an ultimate form of protection.
For those concerned that getting the flu shot means going into crowded healthcare environments where COVID may be spreading, he says.
Planning efforts by our hospital partners, our clinic partners, many provider groups across the state to provide flu vaccine in lower risk yet convenient ways is tremendous.
The California Hospital Association has also created a website with information about the flu vaccine and where to get it. Margaret Carrero, KNX 1070 News Radio.
It's a holiest day for the Jewish faith. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes. First, we have a report on Your Money with Steve Potusk.
Home builders were having a great year before the COVID-19 recession.
We were finally coming out of the Great Recession. The first-time home buyer market was really heating up, and we were actually in a housing shortage.
Jerry Howard, the head of the National Association of Home Builders, who says the industry needed to build 1 million homes this year just to keep pace. And rather than slow the demand, he says the pandemic has a lot of people in cities looking to the suburbs for more room, keeping demand high. And now western wildfires are sending lumber prices through the roof.
Up 170% since April. That's a real potential problem for the overall economy if we can't get that fixed.
Boosted by higher material costs, the average new single-family home sold for $16,148 more in August than it did in mid-April. An analyst at BMO Capital Markets says he's been watching the lumber market for 30 years and has never seen anything like what's been happening in 2020. We check your money at 20 and 50 after each hour. I'm Bloomberg's Steve Potusk for KNX 1070 News Radio.
One breaking news story can impact all of Southern California.
About 1 million kids around the state of California are shut out.
To get all the details, you need to stay connected.
1 million people in California could face homelessness.
That's why you need to make KNX part of your day every day to get the latest information, the information that affects you and your family. And you'll get it anywhere, at home, online, or in your car. KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
When you're looking for fresh quality meats, you can't go wrong with Stater Brothers Markets. Come on by and see our meat cutters. They can help you with custom cuts, seasoning, marinating, and if you need cooking tips, they can help you with that too.
This week, pick up USDA Choice boneless top sirloin steaks at $3.99 a pound. And fresh trim tri-tip roasts are just $4.99 a pound.
Visit our website for more great deals, now through Tuesday at Stater Brothers Markets.
Yom Kippur begins at sundown today with services marking the holiest and most somber day of the Jewish calendar. Much like other annual events this year, services will look different because of the pandemic. Synagogues and Jewish organizations will hold services outdoors with masks and social distancing required. The Jewish group ICAR and the Laugh Factory will stream services online starting at 6 o'clock, so that's just about 4.5 minutes from now. Jewish Life Television will also honor the holy day with a broadcast led by musician Josh Nelson. California prisons will start housing inmates based on their gender identity. This comes after Governor Newsom signed a new law requiring the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to ask inmates how they identify: male, female, transgender, non-binary, or intersex. Inmates can then choose where they'd like to be placed, either with men or women. The state will also be able to deny requests with a written explanation if any security concerns come to mind. California Attorney General Javier Becerra is hailing the state's data privacy law as a model for the rest of the nation when it comes to protecting consumers online. He made the comments as he testified to the Senate Commerce Committee, saying new measures are needed to make sure the internet companies don't breach civil rights.
We also need greater transparency on how algorithms impact people's fundamental rights in healthcare, housing, employment, and how they may perpetuate systematic racism and bias. Businesses that dive deep into collecting our data should also disclose specifics of the data they collect. They should minimize the collection of personal data and use that data for the purpose the consumer allowed.
Becerra says the new California law, which went into effect this summer, allows consumers to delete information and to demand companies stop selling their data. You can listen to us on your smart speaker for reliable, credible news on the coronavirus, the next phase of reopenings, the 2020 election, fires. Just say, Alexa, play KNX 1070, or on your phone, download the radio.com app. At this important time, we are everywhere you are. It is 5:55. We have traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the fives. Here's Jeff Biggs.
All right, well, this is a pretty serious crash now in San Fernando. Southbound 5 at San Fernando Mission. This is a 3-car injury crash, and all 3 vehicles involved had their airbags deployed, which is not good. So that's, again, a very serious situation. We'll get you more details as they become available. Also, a new crash in Carson on the 110 northbound at 223rd Street. This is a solo car spin out. We told you in Pomona, 10 westbound before Dudley, it's a 2-car crash blocking the middle lane. That is still causing some slowing. And this one in Santa Ana just popped up, northbound 55 at MacArthur. A solo car spun out. The car went across all the lanes, starting in the carpool lane, ended up going towards the off-ramp, and then overturned. And we still have that SIG alert in effect in Palmdale, northbound 14 at Technology Drive, until 7 o'clock. The left 2 lanes are blocked due to an earlier crash. Your next report coming up at 6 o'clock hour. I'm Jeff Biggs with more traffic reports more often. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Fire weather watch going into effect for the week because of the high temperatures and wind advisory because of the gusting Santa Ana winds. Going to start really heating up tomorrow and through the week, hitting even triple digits. Right now in Burbank, it's 79.
Finally, the brightening power of vitamin C meets the correcting power of retinol in one supercharged serum. New Super C Serum from Strivectin, the only formula that combines vitamin C, retinol, and patented NIA 114. Clinically proven to restore radiance, smooth fine lines and texture, and visibly firm skin. 97% showed improvement in skin brightness, and 100% showed measured improvement in skin firmness. Visit Strivectin.com for 20% off your first Super C purchase with code Super C. That's Strivectin.com, code Super C.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. So much, I'm going to have to speed things up. You can get the Farmers Signal app, and that could get you up to 15% off your auto policy. That's just for using the app and driving like the normal speed limit, hearing, full stop, making lane change, signaling human being you are. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Now for the legal something.
Not available in every state and discount varies. Only available with select Farmers branded policies subject to terms and conditions underwritten by Farmers Truck and Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Is your favorite bar closed? The DrinkWorks Home Bar by Keurig is the answer. The DrinkWorks Home Bar makes over 30 cocktails at the push of a button, including your all-time favorites, Moscow Mules, mojitos, and old fashions in an all-new 12-pack. Just insert the cocktail pod and press start. Now, for a limited time at DrinkWorks.com, buy a home bar plus $60 worth of DrinkWorks products and receive $75 back. Only available at DrinkWorks.com. Cheers! Keurig is a registered trademark of Keurig Green Mountain Inc. Used under license. DrinkWorks. Please enjoy responsibly.
The wait is over. Football is back in action. That means you can watch your favorite players like Baker Mayfield and Saquon Barkley on Hulu Plus Live TV. Start your free trial today to watch football all season. Get access to over 65 channels and the largest streaming TV library, including exclusive originals and the hottest shows and movies. Live TV plan required. Restrictions apply. Learn more at Hulu.com.
When you're looking for fresh quality meats, you can't go wrong with Stater Brothers Markets. Come on by and see our meat cutters. They can help you with custom cuts, seasoning, marinating, and if you need cooking tips, they can help you with that too.
This week, pick up USDA Choice boneless top sirloin steaks at $3.99 a pound. And fresh trim tri-tip roasts are just $4.99 a pound.
Visit our website for more great deals, now through Tuesday at Stater Brothers Markets.
P3Gear.com is a family-owned business that has prided itself on producing the highest quality protective gear in response to the COVID-19 crisis. With the most comfortable protective and reusable masks, P3 Gear has thousands in stock today in multiple colors and designs and are machine washable. Go to P3Gear.com today and take advantage of our buy two get one free offer. P3 Gear also supplies today's essential businesses with custom branded masks. Buy two get one free today at P3Gear.com. That's P3Gear.com.
The news you need now more than ever from the people you trust. Live from the Antillalone Barrow Smart Studio, Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station. KNX, KRTH-FM HD2, Los Angeles. KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
Coming up on Meet the Press, host Chuck Todd will talk about the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to take Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat on the Supreme Court. Republicans say it needs to happen now. Democrats believe it should wait until after the election. I'm Jan Stevens. Now our special edition of Meet the Press. It's 6 o'clock.
This Sunday, full court press. President Trump names Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the High Court.
Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds.
I love the United States, and I love the United States Constitution.
Setting up a high-stakes fight over abortion rights and the Affordable Care Act just days before the election.
Justice Ginsburg must be turning her over in her grave up in heaven.
My guest this morning, Republican Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri and Democratic Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. Plus, transfer of power. The president is complaining about his poll numbers.
What would our popularity be if every day for almost 4 years you didn't hear any of this bullshit?
And refusing to commit to a peaceful transition if he loses.
We do want a very friendly transition, but we don't want to be cheated.
Facing pushback from Democrats.
The last thing we need is, the equivalent of a coup.
From Republicans.
It doesn't matter what the president says.
And raising alarms at the Pentagon. I'll talk to President Trump's former national security advisor, retired General H.R. McMaster. And stagecraft. President Trump is gearing up to launch personal attacks at Tuesday night's debate.
He's always different when he comes out because he's on a different medication, I guess.
Can Biden stay focused?
I'm prepared to go out and make my case.
Joining me for insight and analysis are Peter Baker, Chief White House Correspondent for the New York Times. Yamiche Alcindor, White House Correspondent for PBS NewsHour. Former Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill of Missouri. And Lonnie Chang, Fellow at the Hoover Institution. Welcome to Sunday. It's Meet the Press.
From NBC News in Washington, the longest-running show in television history. This is Meet the Press with Chuck Todd.
Good Sunday morning. With coronavirus cases surging again and the president's poll numbers stalled, Republicans thought they had finally caught a break with the surprise Supreme Court vacancy serving as the October, or shall we say September surprise they needed to unite the party. But just as they were teeing up comfortable talking points on the court, preparing to announce Judge Amy Coney Barrett, once again the president changed the subject, not just veering off message, but creating yet another crisis. The president's comments casting doubt on whether he will commit to a peaceful transfer of power. We're going to have to see what happens. Dominated front pages and rattled folks all across Washington, including across the river at the Pentagon. Republicans were forced to distance themselves, though few condemned the president by name, rushing out statements calling for an orderly transition of power, noting it's a hallmark of our democracy, a fundamental principle, it's happened forever, we're not a banana republic, and this from Senator Ben Sasse, the president says crazy stuff. All this taking the focus away from his announcement late yesterday of a Supreme Court pick. Hearings on her nomination are scheduled to begin 2 weeks from tomorrow on October 12th, with Senate Republican leadership pushing for a vote just before the election. It comes at a time when President Trump has largely failed to close the gap with Joe Biden in the polls. In our new NBC News Mayor's Battleground state polls, Biden leads Trump by 10 points among likely voters in Wisconsin, and he's up 8 in Michigan, above 50% in both states, most importantly. And it also comes as the president desperately grasps for something, anything, to shake up this race ahead of the first debate with Biden on Tuesday night.
Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds.
President Trump scrambling to get back on message and to fire up his conservative base.
Most important of all, she will defend your God-given rights and freedoms.
If confirmed, Barrett, a favorite of religious conservatives, would ensure a 6-3 conservative majority on the court, setting up a bitter battle over abortion and the Affordable Care Act in the final days of the campaign.
A vote for Judge Barrett is a vote to take away health care.
Roe versus Wade is a travesty. It's judicial imperialism.
The president's pick could also energize his opposition. While there is plenty of debate about when in a pregnancy abortion should be legal, a 2-to-1 majority believes it should be legal in some form. The president, increasingly public about fears he will lose, is complaining about his poll numbers.
What would our popularity be if every day for almost 4 years you didn't hear any of this bullshit, okay?
Accusing the FDA of delaying a vaccine to hurt him politically.
They're trying to do a little bit of a political hit. Let's delay it just a little bit. You notice that? Let's delay the vaccine just a little bit.
And for at least the 4th time this week, refusing to commit to accept the election results if he loses.
I want to see a very peaceful transition, but it's got to be a legal process.
Questioning the integrity of the election without evidence.
We're not going to lose this except if they cheat.
On Wednesday, the president floated the idea.
Will you commit to making sure that there is a peaceful transferal of power after the election?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. You know that I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots.
Some Republicans push back. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell tweeting, there will be an orderly transition, just as there has been every 4 years since 1792.
It doesn't matter what the president says. The Constitution says the presidency ends on January 20th.
We're the United States of America. We're not a banana republic.
The White House attempted to spin the comments.
I think his point of view is that it's necessary and constitutionally correct to nominate and confirm the 9th Supreme Court Justice, that would give us a strong safeguard with respect to the coming election.
But on Thursday, the president doubled down.
We want to make sure the election is honest, and I'm not sure that it can be.
The last thing we need is, the equivalent of a coup. I mean, this is not who we are.
And joining me now is a member of the Senate Republican leadership team. He's chair of the policy committee. It's Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri. Senator Blunt, welcome back to Meet the Press, sir.
Good to be with you, Chuck.
I want to start with, obviously, the Supreme Court nomination and the timing of a vote on confirmation. I just want to, I know you have said that you think this can be done before Election Day. The question I have for you is, should it be done before Election Day? And if so, why?
Well, what I've said was this needs to take all the time it needs to take, but it doesn't need to take more time than it needs to take. I've talked to Senator Graham about this, trying to make arrangements as the chairman of the Rules Committee for room and space and security and other things. And he's laid out a plan that I think meets all the standards of past hearings and could be done before Election Day. If for some reason it's not done, we'll do it after Election Day, but I think we're likely to get this done sometime in the month of October.
You have no qualms about doing this before the election. You've seen polling's pretty overwhelming on this issue. A large majority of the American public do not believe this president should pick this president before the election should make this pick. It should be whoever wins the election. That is not an unreasonable thing for the American public to think, is it not?
Well, it may not be unreasonable, but the Constitution sets up two standards to get on the court. One is the president has to make a nomination, and two is that you have to have a Senate that will accept that nomination and agree with that nomination. And been 15 times in the history of the country when there's been a vacancy in an election year, and when the president and the Senate were in political agreement, they almost always fulfill the two obligations, and if they weren't, they almost never did. So what would the deadline be? The president, I said when President Obama made his nomination that not only would he want to make a nomination, but he was probably constitutionally obligated to make an obligation, and the other half of that necessary formula just wasn't there to get that done, and now it is there.
Do you regret the hypocritical argument you guys made 4 years ago, creating this sort of standard out of thin air, and then backtracking on it 4 years later? And I know you guys came up with these footnotes that says it depends on who controls the Senate. Senator Blunt, nobody made those footnotes in 2016. It was crystal clear to the American public what your views are. Are you concerned that the party looks like a bunch of hypocrites 4 weeks before the election on this issue?
Well, I don't know that the voters will have to look at that and decide. I said a number of times in 2016 exactly what I just said to you, that the two things had to be in agreement for this to happen. And when they weren't in agreement, then voters get a chance to weigh in and give as much direction as they want to. And in 2016, they retained a Republican majority in the Senate. In 2018, after two Supreme Court nominations, they increased that majority in the Senate. And I don't know that we can make this decision, or should. I know we shouldn't make it based on the politics of it, but what our job is, and if we're in agreement in getting that job done.
The president has made election disputes one of the rationales for why she needs to be rushed onto the court. Does this not put her in a position to look like the court's being politicized? Again, the way this is being orchestrated, the way the president's talking, it's could end up delegitimizing the court in the eyes of the public. Are you concerned about that, particularly the president's comments?
Well, I don't know that that's a reason for her to go on the court. I think there are lots of reasons for her to go on the court. I'm eager to vote for her. She was on my short list the last time of people that I would hope the president might have nominated, and I'm eager for that to happen. I am concerned, Chuck, about this idea that somehow the election won't be fair. I think the election may be complicated. I talked about this on the floor of the Senate last week. I said the best place to cast a ballot is at the polling place on Election Day. You have all the information. You know, if you voted 2 weeks ago, you wouldn't have been thinking about this particular circumstance right now, but you have all the information. You vote, you watch your ballot go into a counting system that you're pretty sure of. And then I said, but if you don't want to do it that way, you should take advantage of all the other opportunities to vote. But we really should remember the other opportunities are a little more complicated, and there are always questions about absentee ballots. Did you sign the envelope? Was the postmark correct? I think we're going to see litigation, and to some extent, the Electoral College will help us once again, in that it will take most of the states off the table election night, and in maybe a handful of states, we're going to have a fight about when ballots came in and whether they should be counted and whether the signature was necessary. And I'm eager for the country to work its way through that. If the president's reelected, he'll be sworn in on January the 20th. If Vice President Biden's elected, he'll be sworn in on January the 20th. At this point, I'm chairing the inauguration. I look forward to seeing that happen.
Look, you seem to indicate that you believe the voting's going to be fair. You said it's going to be complicated. The president does not say those things. Are you concerned he has undermined the legitimacy of the election in the eyes of some?
Well, I hope not, and I've actually passed my views on this along to the White House. I think we need to encourage our voters to vote, just like the Democrats need to encourage their voters to vote. But voters should also understand that if you make the voting by mail or absentee ballot choice, it's just a little harder than going to the polling place on election day, and always some percentage of those ballots are argued about if any election is close, whether it's city council or the electoral vote in a state.
Senator, I want to actually go back to a couple of issues that may be impacted due to the Supreme Court, and that is the issue of abortion rights and the issue of the Affordable Care Act. Is it your hope that if Justice Barrett becomes, if Judge Barrett becomes Justice Barrett, that it leads to the ruling of the Affordable Care Act as unconstitutional?
No, that's not my hope. My hope is that on any case she deals with, she looks at the facts of the case, applies it to the Constitution and the law, and then makes a decision. And I don't know how you can predict any of that in advance.
Do you want to see the Affordable Care Act ruled unconstitutional and totally thrown out?
Well, if it is thrown out, it'll be months from the time the court hears it. We'll have time to think about that argument and to do something about it. I think a lot of the Affordable Care Act is now baked into the system. The one provision in the Affordable Care Act that I authored, so we filed about 9 or 10 bills, was keeping people on insurance and their parents' insurance until they're 26. Sure don't see that being reversed. I don't see pre-existing conditions being protected, being reversed. No matter what the court decides, a lot of that discussion has already been had. The American people have accepted that as a basic part of the ongoing system, and we'll have that happen.
Well, but if they throw out the law, it doesn't matter. You guys have to pass a new one. Very quickly, you guys are rushing to confirm a Supreme Court justice. Where's the urgency on virus relief?
Well, let me say if they throw out the law, a November hearing doesn't throw out the law. They won't do that until sometime in the late spring or early summer before you even know what their ruling is, and we'll have time to deal with this. On virus relief, I think we're doing some really innovative things. There are going to be as many tests produced in October as people have taken up until now. About 150 million tests produced in October. More testing, vaccines that work.
But no virus relief from Congress.
Moving forward with vaccines.
But no relief from Congress. But you will get
on the COVID. I think that is a huge mistake, Chuck. I think to get back to school, to get back to work, to get back to better health, we need a bill. We're in very near agreement on all the COVID things that matter. What we're not in agreement on is about $1 trillion worth of other things.
Senator Roy Blunt, Republican from Missouri, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective with us, sir. Thank you.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Let me bring in Democratic Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. He is a member of the Judiciary Committee. Senator Booker, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
I want to start, obviously, with the nomination of Judge Barrett. And I guess the question is, it's the question that I've been getting is, how are Democrats going to confront this nominee? Are you going to confront on the issues that are at stake? Or are you going to go after the process? There's been some talk, for instance, of boycotting the confirmation hearings. Where are the Democrats going here, sir?
Well, I think the Democrats and 2 Republicans are with the American people. First of all, the process is not legitimate. As Susan Collins herself said, fair is fair. They articulated a process for President Obama, and now they're doing the exact opposite under President Trump. It's not fair, it's wrong, and it delegitimizes the court. In addition to that, it's actually during an election. We have people starting to vote already, and the majority of the American people are with the Democrats and 2 Republicans who all believe this should be waiting until after the election. And then finally, you said it, not only is the process illegitimate and should be called into question, but unfortunately what's at stake here is stunning. I'm surprised, frankly, that you could keep a straight face. You know that this is about the Affordable Care Act. You know that this court and what Amy Coney, President Trump's nominee, has put up is that she will tear down the Affordable Care Act, that she has written about that. This is part of his litmus test, and unfortunately, Americans are about to see a Supreme Court that's going to turn against a law that has provided really basic protections that the majority of Americans really want. So this is about high stakes, what's at stake, the right to control your own body, organizing, the right to organize into a union, and it's also about a process that undermines the legitimacy of the very court that is critical, especially right now during a pandemic and during it seems like a crisis that this president is going to precipitate after this election.
Let me ask about process here for a minute. In 2016, you had said this: the Senate has no excuse to ignore, blockade, or stonewall consideration of this nominee. The Senate must do its job to provide advice and consent and swiftly schedule hearings, debate, and an up or down vote. Here's the question I have. Which precedent should be? Which should be the precedent? The ones that the Republicans invented in 16 or the ones they're inventing now?
Well, I guess you asked the same question I asked to Lindsey Graham and to Republicans, is which precedent do you really believe in? Because you can't say one thing and then do another. Barack Obama was putting up a nominee 269 days before an election. 269 days. And now we see Donald Trump doing it while people are voting in the midst of an election. We clearly see the Republicans have shown the height of hypocrisy in what they're doing. As I said, even two of their members have said this is not fair, this is wrong, and we should not do it. This is what do you believe?
Forget what do you believe should be the precedent, though?
I think that if whether it was a Republican president or a Democratic president, when 269 days before an election, you should most certainly be enough time for a hearing in Congress, enough time to get this done.
Well, is there a line? Is there a line you would draw? Is there a line you would draw to say, you know what? Well, after when? I mean, you know, this does seem very subjective.
Clearly, I don't think it's subjective at all. I think if voting has started and if you're just a matter of weeks, I think that that's too soon. Lincoln had a similar circumstance where it was days before an election, and he did not put a nominee up. This is too short. You see the majority of the American people, over 70%, just say, wait a minute, just wait, time out. Wait until we've had a chance to vote on our health care. Wait until the chance we've had a vote on keeping Roe v. Wade. Wait until a chance we've had a vote on union rights. Right. These are the kind of things that I think common sense, you really see the majority of the American people coming down on common sense. And this is the thing that frustrates me now in the midst of a pandemic, is a lot of people are afraid now about what Donald Trump is doing. He's injecting fear into this about people losing their health care, which is a clear and present danger during a pandemic, as he moves somebody who's written about this and talked about this. And then there's another clear and present danger, I think, a lot of us feel, fear, which is a guy that says, a president that has said that he's not going to honor the peaceful transition of power. That is a stunning statement. It's a betrayal of your oath to defend the Constitution and the United States of America. It's such an anti-democratic thing to say.
Senator, do you plan to meet with Judge Barrett?
It's my intention to do so. I think you know my spirit, which is to sit down and meet with people and talk to them. And I'm going to make it very clear. One of the things I want to ask her is, will she recuse herself? Because if she does not, in terms of any election issues that come before us, because if she does not recuse herself, I fear that the court will be further delegitimized. In other words, President Trump has said, I will not accept the result of the election unless I win. I'm going to push it to the Supreme Court. And oh, by the way, during the election, I'm going to put somebody on the court as well. So I hope to have a conversation with her. And I'm blessed to be on the Judiciary Committee, and I'll have that as well. And hopefully have a good informed dialogue back and forth. But my larger hope is that the Republican Party realizes they're undermining their legitimacy, the legitimacy of the Supreme Court, and that they stop what they're doing and wait until the American public has spoken in this election.
Finally, I want to ask you about the debate on Tuesday night, but first I want to play a clip of you and Joe Biden from the debates in the primaries. A quick reminder.
I put forth national standard-setting accountability. Mr. Vice President, I didn't interrupt you. Please show me that respect, sir. We have a system right now that's broken, and if you want to compare records, and frankly, I'm shocked that you do, I am happy to do that.
I put it up there for this reason, Senator. You got the best of him quite a few times. Now, obviously, the scoreboard's the scoreboard. We know who won the nomination. But what advice would you have for the former vice president going into Tuesday?
Well, you say I got the best of him. I say I saw the best of him. You know, after that exchange in the back room, I saw grace in him and backstage during a commercial where he came up to me and showed me the goodness and the decency that's in his heart and actually extended to me some of the best compliments I've ever got from a statesperson in my party. I just love the guy. And you moments like that don't build character, they show it. And I just think that Joe Biden has a chance to just lay his truth, his spirit, his character in front of the American people next to a person that even people within his own party, you saw it this week, can't defend his character, can't stand up for his lies, see him as a danger. Even members of his cabinet, like the great General Mattis, have said this guy is a threat to our democracy. Well, General Mattis's words really were prescient compared to what's happened this week, where he has menaced our democracy. So I just want Joe Biden to go out there and be himself. I have a lot of faith that the American public will see his spirit and know that he'll bring honor back to that office.
Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey, appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective with us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And when we come back, the growing debate in the military about its role if a disputed election leads to civil unrest. President Trump's former national security advisor, retired Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, joins me next.
Are you a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts? You may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. But your time to file a claim is limited. Call 800-755-3342. That's 800-755-3342 for more information. As a result of thousands of victims filing sexual abuse claims, the Boy Scouts have filed for bankruptcy protection, and the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. If you are a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts, you may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. Call for more information with one of our compassionate counselors today. Your call is completely anonymous. Remember, the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. Call 800-755-3342. That's 800-755-3342 today. Sponsored by Mark J. Byrne & Partners, LLC.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
If you're curious about who may be out there but don't want to jump into anything right away, then take a fun step and just take a look at Our Time. Our Time is the #1 dating site for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find a partner to share in a new activity you've been wanting to try. Take a walk or just meet someone new. Check it out. Start for free today. Go to ourtime.com. That's ourtime.com. Start for free at ourtime.com.
You run a business and you need better wireless. 3 words, no more compromise. With the T-Mobile Business Advantage, you get the largest 5G network, award-winning customer support, and insanely great value. No trade-offs. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans when you switch via bill credits. Stop in to find out more. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Complete port within 60 days. Customers over 50 gigabytes per month have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p unlimited on our network. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices coverage and plan details.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your renter's insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Great. As a minimalist, I need simple insurance.
Nice place. No furniture?
Nothing spark joy, except for this fruit bowl.
Well, with Liberty Mutual, you only pay for what you need, so there's that.
I mean, look. So beautiful. So empty again.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
From the KNX Traffic Center, I'm Jeff Biggs, and we begin in Bellflower, 91 westbound before Bellflower Boulevard. Brand new 2-car injury crash. One of the vehicles is facing the wrong way, and all of this activity is now blocking the carpool lane and the fast lane. They're still clearing that situation in San Fernando southbound 5 at San Fernando Mission. This was a serious 3-car injury crash. All 3 vehicles involved had their airbags deployed. New problem in Norwalk 5 northbound at Imperial Highway. 2-car crash blocking the slow lane. And in Hollywood, 101 southbound at Barham Boulevard, there is a stalled out car in the fast lane. And finally, in Thousand Oaks on the 101 westbound at Westlake Boulevard, there is a motorcycle down. And a SIG alert still working in Palmdale on the northbound 14 at Technology Drive. The left two lanes are blocked until 7 o'clock. With more traffic reports more often, I'm Jeff Biggs, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Welcome back. Senior Pentagon officials have gone public about the military's role in a disputed election. With repeated cases of civil unrest since May, the officials have been talking amongst themselves about what to do if the president invokes the Insurrection Act, which would give him broad authority to order the military to get involved in domestic disputes. Joining me now is the president's former national security advisor. He's also retired Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. He's the author of the new book, Battlegrounds, The Fight to Defend the Free World. General McMaster, welcome back to Meet the Press, sir.
Chuck, it's great to be with you.
I want to start with these reports. We've had our own reporting here at NBC News, the New York Times. I'm sure you're familiar with both of them, and that there's been a bit of hand-wringing among senior leadership in the military about what if, and the fact that the president did bring up the Insurrection Act once already. What can you share, and what concerns do you have?
Well, Chuck, I think what is really clear for the American people to understand is the military will have no role in a transition. In fact, even talk about it, I think, is irresponsible. And that's maybe why if you detect some reticence on the part of senior military leaders or those in the Pentagon to talk about it, it's because it shouldn't even be a topic for discussion. You know, our founders were very concerned about this, Chuck. I mean, I think it's important to remember that George Washington's grandparents fled the bloody wars of the 17th century in England. And of course, it was the specter of Oliver Cromwell that was very much on their minds, right, as they crafted our Constitution and the separation of powers and that very bold line between the military and politics.
What went through your head on June 1st when you saw what happened at Lafayette Square?
Well, it was just wrong. It was more than unfortunate, because what we can't do, and this is really across the political spectrum, though, Chuck, which really bothers me these days, we can't try to pull the military into politics. And some of the things the president has said, I think, have been irresponsible, but oftentimes the reaction to what he says is equally irresponsible. So I think all politicians have a responsibility of keeping that bold line in place. Certainly the military profession does as well, to be studiously apolitical, so all Americans have confidence in our military institutions, and then also there's never any infringement on our democratic principles and institutions and processes.
I'm curious, when you hear the president muse about not necessarily agreeing to a peaceful transition of power, take us back. I mean, how did you interpret that? You were in the room with him. You've probably heard him say some things that would shock people. How did you interpret those comments, knowing him the way you do?
Well, what I think is that it's a gift to our adversaries, right, who want to shake our confidence in who we are, shake our confidence in our democratic principles and institutions and processes. What I write about in Battlegrounds is how Russia, for example, has engaged in this campaign of disruption, disinformation, and denial. And if the Russians can just use our own words against us, that's the best way to pull us apart from one another. The
biggest problem, though, in the Russia conversation has been the president himself. You know, he still calls it a hoax and all of that. And you write, and I think Susan Rice, a predecessor who was National Security Advisor for President Obama, wrote that this political division is should be treated as a national security threat. Do you agree with her?
I absolutely agree with her, and this is why I think it's so important for us to come together for civil discussions about the greatest challenges we face. Maybe that's a way for us to come back together as Americans, because as we're at each other's throats with this vitriolic partisan discourse, our adversaries haven't stopped, right? The world hasn't gone away. And that's what I hope will help galvanize us to come back together and to reverse this polarization that's so damaging to our security and our psyche as well.
Let me ask this one more question on this. If you made an attempt to get the president not to say divisive things, how would that go?
Well, Chuck, I can only speak for when I was there, right? My job was to give the president the access to the best analysis across the government, and then to give the president options. And then once he made decisions, to assist with his sensible implementation of those decisions. I mean, those discussions were wide-ranging, and oftentimes, the president evolved his assessment of situations, and I think in many cases made decisions on foreign policy, which was my area, not domestic politics, certainly. He made decisions that advanced our interests, and in many cases put in place big shifts in our foreign policy that were long overdue.
Did it surprise you that there wasn't a better handling of this pandemic? When you were there, you had a pandemic team on the National Security Council. Were you surprised at the response, given the preparations that maybe you had been familiar with?
Well, I think that what we saw is a breakdown in a couple of areas, right? There are three keys to pandemic response. One is stop it before it becomes a pandemic. Well, thanks to the Chinese Communist Party, we couldn't do that. The second is to mobilize a biomedical response. We see that we were hamstrung in that because over the years our supply chains became too vulnerable. With just-in-time delivery, not enough stockpiles. And then the third area is to innovate, right, and develop rapidly therapies and vaccines. I think that third area is going to be a success. Now, what we ought to learn from this, Chuck, is, hey, we have a federal system, and also we have a mixture of public and private health care. And I think where there were breakdowns, it was in coordination. It was in common understanding of the resources available, where the gaps were, and how to mobilize a response effectively. We have a team here at the Hoover Institution. We're working on that with some amazing grad students to interview everybody who was at different points of this crisis, and to identify the lessons and make recommendations in advance of a second wave or the next biomedical crisis.
It's hard to say the words China and very quickly, but I'm going to ask you to do it this way. Are they a competitor? Are they somebody we have to confront? Are they an enemy? How would you define them?
They're a rival, and we must compete with the Chinese Communist Party, because the Chinese Communist Party now is not only stifling the freedom of their own people, they're exporting their authoritarian mercantilist model. And if they succeed, the world will be less free, less safe, and less prosperous.
Retired General H.R. McMaster, really appreciate you coming on, sharing your perspective, former National Security Advisor to the President. Good luck with your book.
Chuck, thanks so much.
You got it. When we come back, Republicans believe a fight over the court allows them to steer the conversation away from the pandemic and the president's unpredictable attacks. Are they right? Panelists next.
Are you a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts? You may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. But your time to file a claim is limited. Call 800-755-3342. That's 800-755-3342 for more information. As a result of thousands of victims filing sexual abuse claims, the Boy Scouts have filed for bankruptcy protection, and the Bankruptcy Court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. If you are a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts, you may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. Call for more information with one of our compassionate counselors today. Your call is completely anonymous. Remember, the Bankruptcy Court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. Call 800-755-3342. That's 800-755-3342 today. Sponsored by Mark J. Byrne & Partners, LLC.
If you're curious about who may be out there but don't want to jump into anything right away, then take a fun step and just take a look at Our Time. Our Time is the #1 dating site for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find a partner to share in a new activity you've been wanting to try. Take a walk or just meet someone new. Check it out. Start for free today. Go to ourtime.com. That's ourtime.com. Start for free at ourtime.com.
You run a business and you need better wireless. 3 words, no more compromise. With the T-Mobile Business Advantage, you get the largest 5G network, award-winning customer support, and insanely great value. No trade-offs. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans when you switch via bill credits. Stop in to find out more. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Complete port within 60 days. Customers over 50 gigabytes per month have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p unlimited on our network. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices coverage and plan details.
Donate your car today with 1-877-CARS for Kids. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights. Also on the web at carsforkids.com.
1-877-CARS for Kids. Donate your car today.
Remember, that's CARS with a K.
Owning Corporation, Equal Housing Lender, licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS 1797976. Call 833-852-6464 for terms and conditions.
Hey, Gary, anything new with you?
Bud, can you believe it? I just crushed my mortgage payment again with Owning. But this is the last refi for me.
Why?
Because I got a 15-year fixed rate at 1.99%, 2.172 APR. Can you believe that?
Get your last mortgage refi from Owning and own your home free and clear in 180 months. Just call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com and ask for your last refi at today's 15-year fixed 1.99%, 2.172 APR. That's 15-year fixed at 1.99%, 2.172 APR.
Why not get your last refi from Owning? You just got to call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com. That's 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com.
From the KNX Traffic Center, I'm Jeff Biggs, and we start with a little bit of slowing on the southbound 405 at Olympic. This is due to a solo car spin out in the center divider. Good news, they've cleared that crash in San Fernando. That was on the southbound 5 at San Fernando Mission, a 3-car injury crash, pretty serious. All 3 vehicles have their airbags deployed, but they have been moved over to the right shoulder. Is a serious problem in Cerritos, 91 westbound at Norwalk, 2-car injury crash. One of the vehicles there facing the wrong way, and they are currently blocking the carpool lane and the fast lane. Had one of our KNX traffic tipsters give us a call on the KNX Valvoline Instant Oil Change traffic tip line, 323-467-1070, letting us know that in Norwalk on the northbound 5 at Imperial Highway, that 2-car crash blocking the slow lane actually resulted from a car crashing into a tractor that was being towed on a tractor trailer, literally. With more traffic reports more often, I'm Jeff Biggs, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Welcome back. Panelists here. Yamiche Alcindor, White House correspondent for PBS NewsHour. Lonnie Chen of the Hoover Institution at Stanford University. Former Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill of Missouri. And Peter Baker, Chief White House correspondent for the New York Times and co-author of a book that a bunch of us knew needed to be written. It's the big biography of James Baker. It is fantastic. Congratulations to you and Susan, Peter, with that. So welcome to all of you. But Peter, despite me helping you sell that book, I'm going to Claire McCaskill first. Claire McCaskill, answer the question that I've been getting for the last week. What can Democrats do about this confirmation fight, and what should they do?
Well, I think the most important fact is this is an abuse of power over a thick layer of hypocrisy. Not a good look 6 weeks before the election. They need to treat the nominee with respect, but point out that the nomination is abusive. And then they need to really just focus on health care, civil rights, voting rights, women's rights. This is an extreme candidate that never would have been nominated before 2017. This, because it would have been obvious she couldn't get 70 votes, 60 votes. So I just think they got to focus on the policy and treat her with respect and make sure the hearings don't turn into a partisan circus.
Lonnie Chen, can this confirmation hearing become a benefit to the president without it becoming a partisan food fight?
I think it could be of benefit to the president. I think certainly the big question here is how does this play for not base voters? We know base voters are going to get very excited about this nomination. The question is for those who remain undecided. Look, Republicans and conservatives are on the cusp of remaking the Supreme Court for the next several decades. It's a momentous occasion. The president, in that sense, needs to focus on this nomination, focus on what it means, rather than getting into all this other junk about, you know, not potentially having a safe transition of power. Really focusing on the nomination and what it means, that is going to be his best shot to get a political advantage out of this.
You know, Yamiche, Democrats have public opinion on their side. In our new Michigan and Wisconsin polls, we asked the court question, you know, should the vacancy be filled immediately, post-election or post-inauguration? Majorities in both states say post-inauguration. It matches some national polls that we've seen. But it is one of these things that Yamiche, the Democrats have public opinion on their side, but it's not the first time they've had public opinion on their side, but they're kind of powerless here.
They are kind of powerless, and when I talk to Democratic sources, the only thing that they can say is that they hope to slow down the nomination. But yesterday I was at the White House's rollout of Judge Barrett, and the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, said very clearly he hopes to proceed with this expeditiously. He hopes to get this done by November 1st. So it's very clear that President Trump really has no way to have any sort of roadblocks ahead of him when he looks at this nomination. And I think Republicans here are feeling very confident in the idea that this will help bolster and really excite the base to try to get people excited about President Trump.
Peter Baker, I guess, is the conventional wisdom on this one correct? You know, I know that, you know, we're all looking at past results here, and yes, the Republicans unite on judicial issues more quickly and more often than Democrats do. Is this one going to play out the same way?
Well, look, I think you presume that Republican voters have been to some extent disenchanted with the president, and so he's giving them a reason to put aside their misgivings about things like the coronavirus and other issues and come back to the fold. Democratic voters were already energized against President Trump, and the question is whether or not this would energize them anymore. I think the other thing that's important for President Trump is that every day we're talking about this, we're not talking about the virus. That's not a political winner for him. 200,000 dead this week. He basically shrugged it off without giving any kind of memorial, tribute, testament to the people. I'm also thinking back today, Chuck, to the first time a Republican nominated a woman to be the Supreme Court justice. Remember, this is only the second time a Republican has ever nominated a woman to the Supreme Court. That was Ronald Reagan with Jim Baker.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn